The PowerPoint slides glowed on my laptop screen at 4 a.m. Each one represented months of research distilled into accessible brilliance. My valedictorian speech for MIT's doctoral graduation had to be perfect. Not for the audience of distinguished professors and fellow PhDs, but for the 3 people I'd reserved seats for in the front row: Mom, Dad, and Ethan. I'd sent them the tickets 6 months ago, framed them actually in a shadow box with a photo from my kindergarten graduation where 5-year-old me declared I'd be the smartest scientist ever. Mom had laughed then, ruffling my hair. Our little genius, Sophia. 22 years later I'd done it. A PhD in biomedical engineering at 27, the youngest in my cohort. Published research on neural interfaces that could help paralyzed patients walk again. Job offers from companies that would make my student loans look like pocket change. And 3 front-row seats for the family who'd missed every milestone along the way. Too far to drive for a master's defense, they'd said about my MS graduation. Ethan has a baseball game, they'd explained when I won the National Science Foundation Award. Money's tight, when I presented at the International Biomed Conference in Boston, 2 hours from their house. But this was different. This was the big one. The culmination of everything. My phone buzzed. Ethan. Hey sis. Crazy news. I'm proposing to Chloe tomorrow. Mom's throwing a surprise party after. You'll be done with your thing by 3, right? Party starts at 4 o'clock. I stared at the text. My graduation started at 2 p.m. Even if I skipped the reception, raced to my car in my doctoral robes, and broke every speed limit between Cambridge and Hartford. Ethan, my ceremony goes until at least 4 o'clock. The reception after is important for networking, but it's my moment. Don't be selfish. Selfish? The word hit like a slap. Selfish was spending my 20s in labs while they vacationed. Selfish was missing Christmas 3 years running because I was running critical experiments. Selfish was choosing groundbreaking research over family gatherings where they'd ask when I'd find a nice man and settle down. I'll try, I typed, knowing I wouldn't. The morning of graduation, I did my own makeup in my tiny studio apartment, hands steady despite the storm in my chest. My doctoral hood, MIT red and gray, lay on the bed like armor. I'd earned every thread of it. 11 a.m. Honey, small hiccup. Chloe's family can only do the party at 2. We'll watch your graduation online. Dad set up the computer and everything. So proud. I stared at Mom's text until the words blurred. They weren't coming. Of course they weren't coming. I typed and deleted a dozen responses. Settled on, oh. The auditorium was packed, a sea of black robes and proud families. I walked past my 3 empty reserve seats, front row left side, a perfect view of the podium, and tried not to look at the families cramming into every available space, holding flowers and cameras and love. Dr. Eleanor Vance, my advisor, found me backstage. Sophia, ready for your big moment? Where's your cheering section? They couldn't make it. Her face fell. She'd met them exactly once when they dropped me off freshman year 9 years ago. Oh honey, it's fine. Really? No, she said firmly. It's not. But you're going to give that speech anyway, and it's going to be brilliant because that's who you are. I'd written 5 drafts of my speech. The first 4 were safe. Gratitude to professors, the power of perseverance, the future of biomedical engineering. The fifth was true. Standing at that podium looking out at 1,000 faces, none of them family, I made a choice. Distinguished faculty, fellow graduates and loved ones, I began, my voice steady. I want to talk about disappointment. A ripple of surprise. Valedictorian speeches were supposed to be inspiring, not honest. 6 months ago, I reserved 3 seats in the front row. I gestured to the empty chairs. They're empty. My family is at a surprise party for my brother's girlfriend. They texted this morning to say they'd watch online. Silence so complete I could hear my heart beating through the microphone. I spent 9 years at MIT. 9 years of 80-hour weeks, failed experiments and instant ramen. 9 years of choosing science over sleep, research over relationships, progress over parties. And in those 9 years, my family has attended exactly 0 of my academic achievements. Someone in the audience whispered. I pressed on. But here's what I learned. Disappointment is just data. It tells you what you can rely on and what you can't. Who shows up and who doesn't. What matters to others and what only matters to you. I found Dr. Vance in the crowd. He was crying. My research focuses on neural interfaces, teaching broken connections to work again. Ironically, I can engineer solutions for severed spinal cords, but not for severed relationships. Because the difference is this: spinal cords want to heal. Some families don't. So to my fellow graduates, especially those with empty seats, those whose family said, too far, or too busy, or too bad, this is for you. We learned to celebrate ourselves. We became our own cheerleaders. We filled those empty seats with ambition, drive, and the knowledge that our worth isn't measured by who shows up, but by what we achieve despite their absence. My voice cracked. I let it. My neural interface research will help paralyzed patients walk again. My family missed seeing me announce that because they were at a party for someone who's been dating my brother for 8 months. And that's okay. Because I'm not doing this for them anymore. I'm doing it for the 14-year-old girl who built a robot in her garage while her parents attended every single one of her brother's Little League games. For the undergraduate who spent Thanksgiving in the lab because going home meant hearing about Ethan's latest promotion for 4 hours. For every brilliant mind in this room who chose excellence over acceptance. The tears came then, hot and honest. We are not selfish for choosing ourselves. We are not wrong for outgrowing those who never bother to grow with us. We are not obligated to dim our light because it makes others uncomfortable. So here's my challenge. Stop saving seats for people who will never show up. Stop making yourself smaller for those who resent your magnitude. Stop apologizing for the space you've earned through sacrifice they can't imagine. I looked directly at the camera streaming the ceremony. Mom, Dad, Ethan, I know you're watching. Or maybe you're not. Maybe the party's too loud. Either way, I want you to know I made it without you, despite you. And that's the real achievement. To the class of 2024, we are doctors now. We've proven we can survive anything, including the absence of those who should have been present. Go forth and heal the world. Start with yourselves. I stepped back from the podium to dead silence. Then, like thunder after lightning, the applause began. Not polite graduation clapping, but roaring, cathartic, standing ovation applause. I saw tears on faces, heads nodding, hands pressed to hearts. Dr. Vance met me as I walked off stage, pulling me into a fierce hug. That was the bravest thing I've ever seen. My phone was exploding in my pocket. I ignored it through the rest of the ceremony, through receiving my diploma, through the reception where strangers approached to share their own stories of absent families and proud achievements. Finally, in the quiet of my car, I looked. 47 missed calls, 312 text messages. The video had been posted to MIT's YouTube channel. It already had 50,000 views. From Ethan, how dare you embarrass us like this? From Dad, take it down immediately. This is family business. From Mom, I'm heartbroken that you would air our private matters. Chloe's parents think we're terrible people now. From unknown numbers, your speech saved me. Thank you for saying what I couldn't. My parents missed my medical school graduation for a cruise. I needed this. By the next morning it had 1 million views. By the weekend 5 million. Interview requests poured in. CNN, Today Show, podcasts about family trauma and academic achievement. Universities wanted me to speak at their graduations. Publishers offered book deals. I said no to all of it. Instead, I started my job at Neuralink, diving into work that mattered. But I did do one interview, a written piece for the MIT Technology Review. They asked why the speech resonated. Because, I wrote, we live in a culture that says family is everything. That blood is thicker than water. That you should forgive anything because they're family. But what about those of us whose families consistently choose everything else? Whose achievements are asterisks in the margins of a sibling's life? We need to hear that it's okay to succeed without their support. The empty seats don't diminish full hearts. 6 months later, Mom called. First time since graduation. Sophia. Aunt Carol has cancer. The family's doing a fundraiser. We need more than money. We need you to come speak. You're famous now. It would really help. No. Family wasn't important enough to attend my PhD graduation, but is important enough when you need my newfound platform. Silence. That's not fair. Neither were the empty seats. I hung up and went back to my lab where electrodes and algorithms waited, where paralyzed rats were learning to walk again through the interfaces I designed, where my worth was measured in progress, not promises. The speech still circulates online. Every graduation season it goes viral again. Parents email me, ashamed, saying it made them rethink their priorities. Students message me grateful, saying it gave them permission to stop waiting for approval that would never come. But the 3 people it was really for, they never watched past the first minute. Ethan told me that at Thanksgiving, the first one I'd attended in 4 years, the last one I ever attended. We turned it off when you started attacking us, he said, over turkey I helped cook while they watched football. Chloe was so upset on her special day too. I laughed. Actually laughed. It wasn't Chloe's day. It was mine. The fact that you still can't see that is exactly why I gave that speech. They uninvited me from Christmas after that. Chloe, now my sister-in-law, made a Facebook post about toxic people who can't be happy for others. I spent Christmas in the lab teaching silicon and gold to speak the language of neurons. My real family. The professors who mentored me, the lab mates who became lifelong friends, the patients whose lives our work would change. They understood. The PhD hangs in my office now, next to the printed email from a young woman in India whose parents missed her engineering graduation for her brother's dance recital. You made me realize, she wrote, that I can frame my diploma next to their absence and still call it a complete picture. 3 empty seats, 5 million views, 1 truth. Sometimes the best families are the ones we build from the strangers who show up, not the relatives who don't.